Welcome back to Legalese 123, where we discuss the latest trials happening across America. Today, we're talking about the Donna Adelson case. Donna Adelson trial is happening and who all is involved. Donna Adelson and Harvey Adelson married in 1971 and had three children: Robert, Charles, and Wendy. Robert is a doctor and lives in New York. Charlie Adelson was a periodontist and he was convicted on November 6th of 2023 in connection with Dan Markel's murder. Wendy Adelson is a lawyer and she was married to Dan Markel. Dan and Wendy married in 2006 and they had two sons together. He was a law professor at the Florida State University in Tallahassee, Florida. He was highly educated, graduating magna cum laude from Harvard University, earning a master's degree from the University of Cambridge, and then later obtaining his law degree from Harvard Law School. He was shot in his garage on July 18th and succumbed to his wounds on July 19th, 2014. So, what happened and why? Wendy had been complaining to her mother, Donna, that she wanted to relocate the family to Miami, where Donna, Harvey, and Charlie resided. Wendy was very unhappy, and the couple separated in 2012 and then later divorced in 2013. Wendy wanted to move the children after the divorce, but Dan didn't want to risk losing his children. Dan also claimed that Adelson's parents were meddling in their divorce and negatively influencing the children against him. As Dan stated that Wendy's mother was influencing the kids against him, Donna wanted to move the kids closer to her in Miami. The divorce decree stated that Wendy could not move the kids out of Tallahassee. There were also rumors that Dan wanted to raise the kids deeper into his faith. Donna began emailing Wendy ways that she could pressure Dan into agreeing to move, like giving him $1 million or threatening to enroll the children in a Catholic school where Dan was Jewish. All along, Donna was emailing and talking to Charlie about ways to get rid of Dan. Donna's constant pressure continued to mount as she brought Charlie into Wendy's drama. Donna encouraged Wendy to inform Charlie of her urgency to be rid of Dan. Charlie didn't like him as much either. Charlie allegedly arranged for his girlfriend, Catherine Magbanawa, to hire Sigfredo Garcia and Luis Rivera to kill Dan Markel. Charlie was a wealthy dentist who knew people and could fund such an operation. Catherine was dating Charlie Adelson and worked in his dental practice. Jokingly, Charlie allegedly asked her if there was anyone she knew that could help get rid of someone. Catherine hired Sigfredo and Luis for $100,000 to take a hit out on Dan Markel. Sigfredo and Catherine had two children together but were not married. Siegfried and Louis were very close friends. Their first attempt took place on June 2014 when the pair rented a car from Miami to Tallahassee. They followed Markel around but stated that they had lost him. The rental car company found out that they had traveled outside their allotted area, pinged the car, which spooked the pair, and they returned quickly back to Miami. Later on, they rented another car from Miami to Tallahassee on July 18th, 2014, began stalking Markel as he dropped his kids off at daycare and then went to his gym. After working out, Dan proceeded to drive home, where the pair followed him to Trescott Drive. Once inside his garage, Dan was on the phone and stated someone was beside his car. Louise fired twice. Markel's neighbor heard the shots, came running, and Markel was rushed to the hospital while Louise and Sigfredo took off. On their way back from Tallahassee, they stopped off at a bridge to dispose of the murder weapon. The next day, Catherine had arranged to get the money so that the two could split it. Later, it was revealed that Catherine obtained the money from Charlie's safe and that the money had been laundered, meaning it was wet, allegedly washed by Donna. Law enforcement found video from the gym, toll transponders, car rental records, cell phone data, and GPS to connect Sigfredo and Luis to Dan's murder. Sigfredo wasn't arrested until May of 2016 and Luis in June of 2016. Was Catherine the mastermind? She wasn't arrested until October 2016. Cell phone records, financial transactions, her relationship to Sigfredo, and Luis' confessions led to her arrest. Her first trial in 2019 was hung. She was tried alongside Sigfredo and Luis. Her lawyers argued that she was not involved and that she wasn't the go between. They suggested it was all Charlie. The state retried her in May of 2022 and found her guilty. She took the stand in her own defense, attempting to elicit sympathy in personal struggles. With all of the cell phone, financial transaction, Luis's testimony, Wendy's ex boyfriend, Jeffrey Lacoste, and the Dolce Vita conversation led to her conviction. The Dolce Vita conversation was secretly recorded between Charlie and Catherine in a Miami restaurant on April 2016 by an undercover FBI agent. They were talking about the bump, which was about a blackmailer who approached Donna. Catherine would become a key witness in Charlie's trial. Charlie Adelson's trial began in October of 2023. Luis testified that the link between Catherine and Charlie, the Dolce Vita recording was Charlie discussing the FBI bump with Catherine. During this, he made incriminating statements, threats of violence, and what his part was in the whole plan. Wendy implied in her testimony that Charlie joked about hiring a hitman would cost less than buying a TV. Then there was a whole bunch of financial records plus much more. He was convicted on November 6th, 2023. The bump. Progress had stalled on the murder case of Dan Markel. The FBI decided to have an undercover agent posed as a blackmailer and claimed to be a member of the Latin Kings gang. It happened to be the same gang that Sigfredo and Luis were members of. The FBI agent approached Donna outside her Miami condo. He handed her a newspaper article about Markel's murder with a note with $5,000 written on it and a number to call in exchange for keeping quiet. He told her that Catherine and Sigfredo and Luis were taken care of. Their goal was to get Donna and Charlie to start talking. Their plan worked. Here is a list of all the players who were involved in the murder of Dan Markel. So what happened? Why is Donna Adelson on trial? Well, after Charlie's conviction, the state decided to press charges against her. They felt they had enough evidence to represent that she was a co-conspirator in his murder. Here is a picture of her that represents her arrest at the airport on November 13th of 2023. She was fleeing along with Harvey going to Vietnam, a country that does not have extradition rights. The FBI had been monitoring her and Charlie's phone before and after the bump. Her trial was initially started to begin on September 17th, 2024, but a conflict with her attorney, Dan Roshbaum, who also represented Charlie, endangered the trial. On June 13th, 2025, there was a hearing to discuss a change of venue. Judge Everett said it was too soon. Recently, as of July 11th, a motion hearing was brought up again and stated that he would address the change of venue after attempting to select a jury. Jury selection is set to begin on Tuesday, August 19th in Tallahassee. Donna is being held without bail. So stay tuned. What new surprises will we learn in Donna's trial? Will Charlie testify against his mom? Will Wendy testify? Will Harvey be indicted? Will Wendy be indicted? Thanks for listening.